Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Olivia Rodrigo here. So a couple weeks ago, it was spring break week, I guess, for my county, and my family, for the first time, went on a vacation that was actually like really far away. Like we've gone on vacations since 2020, but like not actual like really far ones. Like we've gone to the beach a couple times. Like we've done some random sleepover things here and there, but this is our first time that we've actually gone somewhere really far away, and it was spring break and we went to Utah, so that's pretty cool. It was the first time I'd been on a plane in nearly 3 years. I think it was like summer 2019 was the last time I was on a plane. And so, yeah, I was supposed to go on a plane for summer 2020 to go to Aruba for spring break, but of course that didn't happen. And so, yeah, that's pretty cool. So, and I'm recording this like a month after it happened, so because I've been procrastinating making videos for so long, but you know, whatever. So the town that we went to in Utah was called Moab, and it had a bunch of stuff in it. Today I'm going to talk about all the stuff and how I would rate it, you know? So, we woke up at like 4 in the morning, had a flight into Salt Lake City that lasted for like 6 hours, and then we got a car from the airport and drove to Moab, which took 4 hours from the Salt Lake City airport. So that's pretty nice. And then we were finally there, and the time zone change was like 2 hours because it was Central Time, not Pacific Time, so it was 2 hours behind. So yeah, that happened, I guess. Also, completely unrelated, but Salt Lake City unironically has an S-tier airport. Like everything was so like organized and clean, and it actually looked like really modern. No one cares about that, but I'm just giving them a shout out. According to my dad, it was the second best airport he'd ever been in, and he's been in a lot of them. The first was Reykjavik, Iceland, or however you pronounce it, like Reykjavik. I don't know, but that was the first apparently. I think it's Reykjavik actually. Never mind. My inner Norwegian self comes out when I say Reykjavik. Or, I don't know how to say it, like Reykjavik? I think that's, I don't know. Okay, enough of that. But anyway, we stayed there for 3 full days, well actually technically 4, but one of them was a travel day. Like, okay, so we got there, and then we went to Moab on the same day, whatever. And we stayed in Moab for 3 days, and then on the 4th day, the entire day was just traveling back to Salt Lake City. We stayed over in a hotel in Salt Lake City, and then we flew out the next day. So one day, which is a travel day. So 3 full days in Moab. That's what I'm going to be going over. Day 1, Arches National Park. You know, when I went to Norway a couple years ago, I really didn't think that anything, you know, in the U.S. at least, would be a better view than the views I had in Norway. Mainly, like the fjords and, wait, what was it called? Like, what was that town? Flom, Norway. Yeah, especially that one. But somehow Utah, it beat out Norway, which really surprised me. Like the thing that probably surprised me the most was the views. Like the views are like amazing. Okay, like Moab is completely like encased in just an enormous circle of rock, like a 10 square mile circle of rock, and then all the rock around. Like, and by the way, this rock we're talking about is like a mile tall. And then it just plateaus, and then there's just like a big gap in the rock. And inside that gap is Moab, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, I was talking about Arches National Park. One thing that surprised me about Arches National Park is that there really aren't really that many arches there. There are amazing views, though, so that kind of made up for it. And there still were arches there. And it's basically what it is, just like a road that goes through the, you know, desert. Like the real world equivalent of a Minecraft mesa biome is what I like to describe it as, because that's really what it is. But, you know, it just goes through it, and there's a bunch of like hiking paths you can do to go see a bunch of arches. We saw a bunch in person. There were a ton of like, phone just dinged. But like, I don't know how to describe it. Just like big arches, you know. Missed the pause button again. And most arches are like they don't like form just like it's very rarely just flat ground and just an arch sticking out of it. It's usually like an arch forms inside of a rock. Like there's a wall of rock, and then inside of that there's an arch. I just thought it would be them sticking out from the ground, but no, there's very few of those. It's more just in the rock. And I went inside a bunch of them, and I got a bunch of pictures that I don't feel like showing you. I posted them on my Snap story though, so that was like a while ago. So you know, I don't know. But yeah, like climbing inside and around the arches was actually like it was very fun. 'Cause it was basically just like rock climbing, but like without, you know, harnesses and stuff. And I kept thinking about it, like, one day someone is going to fall off one of those arch things and die. And then people are going to stop going up there. So when if I go back to arches when I'm like 60 years old, I guarantee you there will be some sort of limitation on going inside the arches, because by that point someone will have definitely died by falling off something there. I guarantee it. But yeah, Arches National Park, it's a lovely place, you know? And you know, in terms of like entertainment value, really all we did was hike. But it was really cool hikes, so There, cool. There's it for Arches National Park. I just said there's it. I don't know why. Day 2, the only non-national park day, was the zip lining day, where it was very cold because we went up like 2,000 feet in altitude and the winds were out. Like, I'm not exaggerating when I say there were like 50-mile-an-hour winds, and I was wearing short sleeves and shirts and shorts. And it was pretty cold up there, so that was painful, but, you know, the views were cool again. And by the way, all throughout this trip, there's this one range of mountains, just like miles and miles. I think it was like 23 or something miles in the distance. You could see them so clearly. And they were called the Salt Mountains, and they don't have salt on them because apparently someone who was like in the 115-degree desert saw the mountains in the distance, was like, oh, that can't possibly be snow, it must be salt. They were wrong. It was snow, but, you know, they call it Salt Mountains because it just stuck, so that's pretty cool. The mountains, by the way, beautiful. Best single view of the entire trip, those mountains, amazing. But yeah, the zip lining was pretty fun. There were, I think, like 6 total zip lines. 2 of them were a quarter mile long, and we did like zip line yoga on them, so that was pretty cool. Like, we did, like, imagine like the ground was this way. Like, I did this, but I also did it with my other foot, you know, so that was pretty fun. So did everyone else. The instructors taught me that. It was pretty cool. Also, the zip line was like half of it, and the other half was like the RV rides to and from the zip line, where you had to go like up a whole mountain. That was almost as fun as the zip lines themselves. Like, I don't know, just it was like so bumpy. It was my first actual like ATV ride ever. I don't know, it was cool. So yeah, zip lining on top of a very, very large cliff, and I could see the, like, you remember when I said it was just like a whole like dip in the ground was the entire town of Moab? Yeah, I was on top of that rock when I was zip lining. So that was pretty cool, and I could just see like the entire town of Moab down, just encased in this huge circle of rock, you know? Okay, so, yeah, that's cool. That's all for ziplining. Day 3, you got Canyonlands National Park. The other, actually, I think there's 5 national parks in Utah. We only went to 2 of them, but the second national park we went to in Utah. Canyonlands is pretty much just arches, but, like, bigger and slightly less arches. Like, I'm not, like, that's really just what it is. Like, probably most of arches was just long, flat expanses of land with, like, huge freaking rocks in the middle of them that are, like, a mile high, you know. And Canyonlands was more the same, except, like, the size of Canyonlands is a lot bigger than it is of Arches. And, you know, the main attractions at Canyonlands are the rock, because Canyonlands has, like, more, like, cool rock formations that aren't arches, you know? Like, they're just standing rocks that are, like, shaped like this, that are, like, really, you know, tall, so it's kind of cool. Not kinda, it was really cool. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but every single rock that I've mentioned so far is orange. Like, not Canyonlands, Moab was not encased in a mountain of gray rock. The rocks were orange, so just putting that out there. So you can imagine it's cool, just a bunch of orange rock, and then just white, gray, snowy mountains in the background. It was so picturesque, if you will. But yeah, Canyonlands is really similar to Arches, except just like different type of scenery, you know? We had a bunch of hikes and stuff. There were some arches there, but, you know, Canyonlands just a lot of more of the same, amazing views still, and overall a lovely national park, just like Arches. And then after those 3 trips on 3 separate days, we went back to the airport and flew home and had a layover in the Denver airport. I don't know why I felt like mentioning that, but yeah, we did. Overall, I give, right, I was gonna mention something else. I just remember what it was. If you ever go to Moab, Utah, the food, chef's kiss, absolutely amazing. We went to, why does my Chromebook keep shaking? There we go, alright, we went to like 5 separate restaurants, literally all 5 of them, amazing, okay? I don't even remember, I remember one was like Uncle Jay's Pasta or something, one was like Dewey's Grill House, then there was the one directly across the street from Uncle Jay's Pasta, that was like, the restaurants literally like 20 feet away from each other, just across the street. I remember what it was called, but I remember it was that one. There was the one that we ate on the travel day, and then the 5th one I don't remember, but the travel day one was probably worse because it wasn't actually in Moab, but still, it was good. But yeah, moral of the story, food in Utah apparently is very good, which I was not aware of, even, like, apparently is very good, so yeah. And that's it for my Utah recap. I probably missed something. If I did, I'll put it in the description. That's what I say in every one of my videos. But yeah, that is my recap of my trip to Utah. It's a lovely state, really. I recommend going there, you know. But, yeah. Okay, cool. That's it. Again, my incompetence when it comes to outros. But, yeah, that's about it. I hope you did not enjoy this video. Utah is a lovely state, and, that's about it. See ya.